Hey there, beautiful queens and kings. How are you all? Why does it feel like I have not seen y'all in forever? And I've been seeing you all multiple times a day, like every single day for the month of March. My name is Jean Vuana. I go by Life Coach Vaughn, and I am passionate about helping women understand the importance of being fly, and that is first loving yourself. And this is extremely important to know because I want to help you be your best so that you can in return be your best not only for yourself but for everybody else. So of course, as you all are joining, say hello so I can speak back to you all. Hey there, Queen Amber, I see you. Hey there, Queen Patricia, how are you? Great to see you. Hey there, Queen Gwen. Y'all, I have a phenomenal guest that is joining me in just a short few moments. Her name is Dr. Cheryl BryantBruce, and I actually met her at the Women of Wealth Billionaires Summit in the Hamptons, New York. We both had to speak on a panel. And I mean, once I heard her speak, what it is that she does, how it is that she uplifts and builds our community, I was like, Dr. Cheryl, I gotta get you on to share what it is that you know with our community. And I was due to have her on the show, on this platform last year, but she had fallen ill, but she had been reaching back out to me and was like, I am ready to come and share with you. So I am happy and grateful to have the celebrity doctor. She is located in California, and she's going to share with us some of, or a lot of the insight about what it is that she does, why it is that she does it, right? In the meantime, look, I need you all. Hey there, Queen Val. It's great to see you back again today. In the meantime, I want y'all to make sure you go to www.meetlifecoachvaughn.com. And there you'll be able to see the list of all of the individuals that I have, all the queens that I have invited on my platform for the month of March. Y'all, I have some amazing queens that are coming up. Have y'all been enjoying thus far all of the special guests? Yesterday we had a Dr. Martin on, and she is an advocate for our health, right? She sits on federal boards. She sits on boards where she talks about the disparities that are in the communities, right? So she's a direct plug. So hopefully y'all had an opportunity to follow her. I see Dr. Cheryl has joined us, and I'm going to go ahead and bring and I'll make sure you all get that information. But in the meantime, let's bring Dr. Cheryl Bruce Bryant. Oh my gosh, look at it. How are you, Queen? Look at that. She's rocking the hat.
How are you, lady? And I put my special shirt on, and I don't know that you can see what it says, but it says,
What is that?
always enough.
Come on now. Always enough. Y'all see, she making it hot already. Queen, thank you so much for joining this very important discussion. I have actually been doing this for the past 3 years. I've been inviting women from various industries from all over the world to share their stories on how they are positively impacting women's history, right? I don't feel like it's enough. I don't feel like we're getting showcased enough. I don't care if you have 2 followers or 5 million followers. I want people to connect with your stories of trials and triumph and feel encouraged and inspired. And I know when I met you and I started to read about you and then I heard you speak, I'm like, oh my gosh. I definitely want to share with her. So thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
for
joining
having
me.
me. I'm really excited to be here. And you know, when I met you in the Hamptons, it was such a great time, and I was just so impressed with you as well, with your energy, your positivity, and with the great things that you were doing. And as a coach, just with how centered you are and how effective your energy is.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So for those of y'all that have never met me in person, y'all can see y'all get the same exact thing. I'm the same way all the
She
time.
really is. She really is.
Well, Queen, do me a favor. Please introduce yourself to our community. And when I say our community, I tell people, yeah, this may be my platform with my
Mhm.
name on it, but this is all of ours, right? Because we are all the ones that I invite on here for us to share this space. We have the same mission. And so I want you to go ahead, please
Well, I'm
introduce
Dr.
yourself.
Cheryl BryantBruce M.D., a medical doctor, also known as the Celebrity Doc. I am an integrative family physician, and my focus is on wellness. I am known as the mental health, wellness, and health expert for celebrities, and I'm also known for expertise in midlife mastery. So that's for the folks over the age of, say, 40 and basically beyond that, because midlife is a transitional point that people go through for a good 20, 30 years, and the issues that we deal in with midlife extend into our senior years and basically carry us on out. So those are transition points that people don't really talk about. And that is one of the areas that I focus in. Right now, I really am focused a lot on the mental health and wellness, though, because we are in such difficult times, and coming out of COVID, people have really, really struggled. It kind of unraveled everybody's coping mechanisms, and folks who were really doing pretty well pre-COVID are struggling as well. And those who were struggling pre-COVID are just, you know, they bottomed out. So a lot of people are struggling. I do a talk show, Chatters That Matters. Let's talk about it. And many of our episodes recently have been dedicated to mental health, and we've been talking about suicide and so on and so forth. Although the last couple of episodes have really been quite fun. We've had some celebrity guests on, including comedian Faison Love, and our last episode was really quite entertaining and had nothing to do with anything as heavy as suicide. So we've been just kind of all over the map. And that is kind of one of the ways that I approach health and wellness. We don't just look at physical health. We don't just look at mental health, because pretty much everything that impacts you impacts your health. Looking at your emotions, your mental health, your physical health, your financial health, social health, you know, your family health, your health spiritually, the most important thing out there. If you don't have your spiritual health, then you have nothing, because you definitely don't have any kind of resilience if you don't have your spiritual health.
I love it. I love it. So y'all hear it. She didn't give you all of the alphabets behind her names either, you know, all the credentialing and things of that nature. And I say that because I love it. I had to actually, I could recall when my husband graduated with his doctorate degree, and he would not put, when he introduced himself, he would not say Dr. Robert Lewis. It was so it felt
Uh-huh.
so uncomfortable to him. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm gonna need you to say it because you worked hard for it. You worked hard for that. And it's not to make anybody feel small or not make anyone else feel like, you know, they aren't as good. it's a
Yes.
celebration of yourself. And I believe we should embrace that when people say, hi, I'm Dr. Such and such and such. And you know, this is what it is that I've actually accomplished.
Yes.
We need to be okay with that. So
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely. And I mean, one of the realities for me as a Black physician is that we actually do have to claim that because we are not always given that respect. And so, I stand
Mhm.
strong in, as you said, a lot of work went into obtaining that degree, uh, a lot of expertise. I'm into it for more than 30 years, so I have a lot of experiences that come behind that degree that validate me as an expert, as someone who knows what I'm doing in my field. And just the breadth of the experience has qualified me in a lot of other different areas to speak in a stand position, a strong position. So I am not afraid to declare it. I am not afraid to
Mhm.
claim it. I am not afraid to acknowledge it. As you said, it's not saying that I'm better than anybody else, or, that I think I'm miss all that or anything like that. But I do want people to recognize that, I do have some exceptional skills that I've worked very, very hard to get. I actually keep a cup on my desk too, because one of the things is that we're frequently challenged. I'm pretty much challenged every day as to whether or not I'm a real doctor. Who do you think you are? What do you have going on? Well, I Googled that. So I have a cup on my desk that says, please do not confuse your Google search with my degree.
I love it. I love it. It's for me, it's so inspiring. The doctor I had on yesterday, she was talking about how she was speaking
Yes.
for in front of nursing students, and nursing students came up to her and was almost in tears, like, I don't see us
Yeah.
that much. So this has truly inspired me. So I love the fact, again, that you all show up so confidently, because you all are absolutely inspiring us. So again, thank you for all that you do, and the trials that you had to face. With that being said, it's Women's History Month. I want to ask you a specific question, and I'm going
Yes,
to ask
ma'am.
you a couple more. What specifically do you feel like you are doing impact women's history or the world, right? Women's history is only because it sounds good because it's Women's History Month, but I know whatever we do, it actually impacts the world. So
Well,
what
I
could you give
actually
us?
was selected for Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential People in the World for bringing back the house call. And the reason that I was selected for
Mm.
that is because I was one of the ones who pioneered concierge medicine. So at the time that I was selected for that, I was one of the big three in concierge medicine. There was MD VIP, there was MD squared, and there was me. And I was doing it a little bit differently than the others because I chose as my platform a mobile concierge. Now, for those who don't know what a concierge physician is, basically it is a private personal physician. I go to my clients. And folks, especially when I was first starting out, would get really ruffled up about that and say, oh, well, that's elitist. I can't afford a concierge physician. But that isn't necessarily the case. At the time when I first started out, the way that I came into it was because I was serving children with disabilities and their families. And I had a sick child, and I was told to go home to close my practice and everything because my child was dying. And they gave him 2 months to live.
Mm.
And so I did close the practice, but within the practice lived a nonprofit for children with disabilities. And those children, they're kind of marginalized. And they go to regular pediatricians and all, but people don't want them really in their practices because they take up a tremendous amount of time. And especially in this day and time, it's the quick visit and beat it. So they didn't really have the time to devote to those children, and they landed with me. I did not have the heart to close the door on those kids. So that is how I developed that concierge model, because I said, well, my child is sick, can't have him in the clinic, but what I can do is on the days he feels well, I'll come to you. And when he doesn't, you can come to me. And very quickly, he started to thrive with having more mommy time, and he started doing well. So
Wow.
we did a lot of going out to our clients, to our kids with the disabilities. And what we found was that I was practicing much better medicine because I was meeting them at where they were. I could see their barriers. You'd tell them, go do this, go do that, and they say yes, and then they don't do it. And it's not because they want to be non-compliant. A lot of times there are things in their environment that are preventing them from being compliant. So I learned a lot about medicine and the value of personalized medicine, of really going to your clients. So that's kind of where it developed out. And then at a certain point, I lost my child, and I kind of said, oh, well, I guess I can go back to a regular practice now. I can settle for doing that. And then I realized I was settling. And not that there's anything wrong with a regular practice, but I had found a better way to do it, a way where I could connect better with my patients and better with their families. So not only was I impacting the patient, I was impacting an entire system. And it was just a much more effective way to do it. And I found by doing insurance physicals for people who had huge policies, which meant that they were high net worth, they were like, wow, this is great. You come into the home and do these physicals. It's like, wait a minute. They're asking me, do I have a card? Do I have a business? And I'd be like, no, this is all I do. I just do physicals. And they said, wait, this is what I was doing before. It was just a different population. And one of the things about working with the population I had been working with was a lot of them were Medicare, Medicaid, or, it might have been that they were coming without resources at all. And so I, was doing it out of the goodness of my heart, helping them out. And I was like, well, what if I started seeing people who were higher net worth, who had more assets, and then that gives me something to work with, and that makes me more available for those who don't have anything. And that kind of was where it was born out of. And one of the things I used to say was, okay, I'm like the Robin Hood of medicine. I take from the rich and I give to the poor. And yeah, so I ended up developing this practice out that was able to service everybody.
Wow. That's beautiful. Let me share. Mark Martinez, thank you so much for purchasing a badge. He says, love you, Dr. BB. You are godsend. He said, Dr. BB is the most loving, insightful MD you can find. Thank you out, Mark. That is awesome. I'm gonna pin that comment. She is amazing, and I'm so glad I'm able to share her wisdom and knowledge and what it is that she does for the community and for outreach. I didn't know that's how that story went. So what you're basically saying is you went through a very tough time with your son who was sick. You found a way to be this, of course, superwoman and a super mom, to spend more time with your son and also work in your passion and your purpose. That helped heal him for a longer period of time, spend quality time together. And then you want to step further to say, I still want to be able to serve these people, but I'm also going to find a way that I can leverage my expertise
Yeah.
and help more people.
And kind of one of the things that I learned out of that whole experience which has brought me to the point where I am now, is I developed a paradigm for healthcare, the windmill healthy lifestyle paradigm, that really initially it was called the 7 pillars. And I put that out there, on the internet and everything else. And eventually someone else wrote a book about the 7 pillars of medicine. And so I kind of still rolled with it. But then when I thought about it, that was a very static model. I mean, pillars are rigid. And I was like, health and people are not static. So I developed the windmill model, using the blades of the windmill where the pillars used to be. And on it, the blades of the windmill, they stand on a sturdy base, and that was your spirituality. So we address all of those issues in the model that I work with. And as I started out saying, right now we're in a very difficult place in the world. The world is sick. It's unhealthy. People are in pain and they're suffering. And where I've come to at this point is wanting a broader reach, to be able to touch more people. Now I can't touch every single person in the world, but what I can do is to touch the leaders and to teach them this model of health and wellness that will allow them to trickle it down to their tribes in various ways. And it's that whole thing of tossing the pebble into the pond and it sends the ripple out. I can send out a ripple that can touch everybody in the world eventually.
I love it. I love it. That is absolutely amazing. So Eldon, thank you so much for joining us again. She's been hanging out with us for several sessions of the Women's History Month. She says there's healing even in your voice, dear doctor. So, yeah. Mark is still giving you your flowers. She has a story of all stories. She had been through all. She'll and remains an angel. She's amazing. So thank you so much, y'all, for participating. So if y'all are just joining us, I am with Dr. Cheryl. She is phenomenal. And she's just sharing with us how she is positively impacting the world, right? She's positively impacting women's history, right? So let's talk about this piece because it's such a catchy, the celebrity doc, right? So I know that there are privacy and things like that you can't say but too much. But what are maybe some of the things that you can tell us about being a celebrity doctor? Or I know once a client or a customer gives you a public testimonial, then you're able to say, oh, okay, this was my client, this was my customer. Could you give us some of that?
One of the things with being a concierge physician is that there is a very, very high level of discretion. And I actually did have an experience where one of my very, very high level concierge patients had given me permission to use her name in public, but apparently she hadn't cleared it with all of her management and so on and so forth. She thought that she was going to be used in a group of names so that she wouldn't be singled out. And at the time I was doing an interview with Anderson Cooper and Sanjay Gupta on what is it, 360s, and we have no control over how those things get edited. So she was singled out and initially, and her management kind of had a fit, and so they did correct it out, and that was great. But I'm very careful about my mentions. I do have a specific permission, though, from Jimmy Coco, spray tanner to the stars. You've seen him on all of the E's and all of that, running around spray tanning some of the biggest stars out there. And he has been one of my clients for many, many years. I've been through a lot with Jimmy. We've traveled together. He's a wonderful client, and I've watched him grow tremendously. So he is one that has given permission for me to use his name. And basically, a lot of my bigger ones, though, I won't divulge the names. I'm very careful about that. I will say, though, that the name the celebrity got, because people do ask about that a lot. And, you know, because people like to throw shade, I sometimes get some pushback. Well, who does she think she is? There's, you know, the celebrity doc. I did not give myself that name. I was actually given that name by the media. And at the time that I was given to it, given the name, Mark actually was working with me. And so I've been with Mark for a very long time, so he does know me quite well. But the media gave me the name for two reasons. It was actually a newspaper writer that first coined it, and it was because I was seeing a number of celebrities at the time, but also because the other hat that I wear besides physician is entertainer. And so I was doing a number of things at the time. I was working on a couple of different sets. I worked on the set of Angels and Demons. I played a diplomat's wife. I was on the set of Beverly Hills Chihuahua, although that one did go to the scrapping floor by the end of it. You know, I mean, we spent days working on those pieces, and sometimes they just never make it into the show, because most of that show ended up being animated, and initially those scenes were not animated. But you know, been on several different ones, and so he was like, oh, well, you know, in some ways it's kind of like you're a celebrity too. And with some of the experiences that I have had in the past, I have found myself in the media and the center of some worldwide attention. And so did get to experience some of the things like, you know, paparazzi and stalkers, and some of the things that are big stressors for celebrities. And so it gave me the ability to connect with them on a different level, and to understand. People say, oh, well, you know, they have money, they have everything, you know, why do they need any kind of special treatment? Well, they are actually giving a lot of themselves up to us as the public, and people don't realize just how much stress that they are under because of that. And the additional stress where we have less at stake if we divulge our feelings. They have a lot at stake.
Yes. Yeah. They're scrutinized and all of that. Before you go into that, because that was actually my next question. That was my question, Queen. Before you go into that, let me just say welcome, you all. We are talking to Dr. Cheryl, y'all. I am so excited to have her on here. She is a phenomenal, phenomenal physician, aka the celebrity doc. And they're in the comments going crazy. Mark is like, she's being modest. Has quite a few high celebs that need her. So he was like, stop being modest. Queen Abby, thank you so much for purchasing a badge. She said, very excited. Thank you so much, you all, for joining us on here. He said, beauty and grace. What more can you ask for? I'm just saying, Mark, you are the best here. Everybody needs a Mark. Everybody needs a Mark. So thank you so much. One of the things, Queen, that I wanted to ask you, by the way, y'all, if you're just joining us, go to meetlifecoachyvonne.com, because I have tons of other queens from various industries that are going to be just sharing their everything with you to inspire, to encourage, to invigorate you, to help you reach the heights, because sometimes we're not given the opportunity to really, really share who we are and what we've been through and why we do what it is that we do. So you may feel like you're alone, but you're not. You are not alone. And we're here to remind you, Queen, a lot of people, I won't say a lot, okay. There are some of, and I'll even say us, right? I don't like to put people in spot. Sometimes we want the spotlight, right? They feel
Yes.
like that they're ready. Like, I want to be famous. I want to become a millionaire. I want this. I want that. I want this. I want that. But they don't truly understand
Yeah.
what comes with
Yes.
that, right? And you talk about
Yes.
mental health and how, you know, everyday us, we're experiencing a lot of things. Could you give us a little bit more insight as to, you know, again, what these celebrities literally have to go through and what people need to take into account when they're asking for the fame and the fortune
Well, I
and being
think
in the
one of the
spotlight?
things that people really don't understand is that the more you step into the spotlight, people think, you know, with the money and everything comes freedom. And the more you step into the spotlight, you actually give up quite a bit of your freedom and autonomy because you have to take on management. And the more management you take on, which you absolutely have to do because you cannot juggle it all, the more management you take on, the more freedom you give up. And if you think about, I'll use Cameron Diaz as the example. You know, she was famous, you know, she was a recognizable face, she was doing well, she had the money, you know, she was an A-list celebrity, and she stepped out of that. Why did she step out of it? Because she wanted more control of her life. She wanted to be able to say, I want to go here and make the decision for herself to go, as opposed to her management saying, no, you can't go. The management tells you where you go, where you can't go. The other thing that's very difficult for celebrities is the more recognizable they become, the less privacy they have. And you know, there are times when you're having a bad day. I'll use Ricky Smiley as a recent example. Ricky just lost his son, and you know, he posted. He was like, you know, I appreciate all of your messages, your support, and your love. I need some space. And you know, he did stay on because you know, we are made by our public if we're celebrities, and so you have to be there for them. And so he did stay on his Instagram and his Twitter and stuff like that, and you know, fairly well commented every day, but it wasn't the same as he would usually do because he needed to take that time for himself. And especially when you're out in public, people don't always give celebrities that space. And they see celebrities out for dinner with their family. They've been working hard. They've been on tour, and tour is brutal for celebrities. And we get upset because our tickets got canceled because a celebrity was halfway through tour and had to shut it down because they were exhausted. And we're bent out of shape. Well, I paid my money, this, that, the other thing. Give them grace. Occasionally you get one that's just flaky, but most of them are not flaky. Most of them are just engaging in good self-care and have people like myself and their management saying, we need to shut it down for a minute. And if you do see them out and about in public, take a look at what's going on. You know, if they're out and you know they're making eye contact and they're acting like, you know, they're happy to sign your autographs, then by all means. But if they're there with their families and you know they're having a dinner, they're having an intimate moment, let them have it. You know, you can smile, wave, acknowledge, keep it moving, because they need that downtime, they need that private time. And they are going to put on a show for you always. Their job is to put on the happy face or give you the image that you want, which isn't necessarily always a happy face. And some of the people that you see, don't think that you know these people. It is fake news. It is fake image. And a lot of times the images that you see are not necessarily who they are. I had Dr. Heavenly on my show recently, and we talked about how folks deal with snapback. You know, people throw shade and you come back with snapback. And she was saying that in her personal life, even though on the show she is the queen of snapback, you know, but in her personal life, she says that she is one who is more likely to step off and, you know, avoid conflict. So you have to remember that even though a person's personality on air may be aggressive, may be heavy, you know, they may be playing the bad guy on air, maybe the wicked sister, you know, whatever it may be, it may actually be an 180 degree opposition from who they really are. And that takes energy to always be on acting like that. So when you come at them expecting them to be a certain way, they may not be. And one of the prime examples that I had was actually an actress in the porn industry. And she kept telling me she was in the porn industry. And I was laughing because I thought she was joking, because as outside of her work as an actress, she was very down to earth, very personable, very spiritual, and very non-sexual. So, you know, she kept saying, you know, I'm a porn queen, I'm a porn queen. And I was like, no way. And her name actually, she is a porn queen. And her name is Charmaine Starr. She's absolutely beautiful. That's her stage name. I won't divulge her real name for her privacy. And she's just absolutely beautiful. But I got the opportunity. I was going to a Macy Gray record release, and Charmaine took me with her, and she's like, well, before we get in there, you need to know that a lot of people may recognize me. And I was like, yeah, okay, She's like, well, I really am a porn star. And I'm like, yeah, okay, right? So I go in with her, and sure enough, people come and they're approaching, and they are approaching with such adulation. They're like, oh, Charmaine, we love your movies. You know, you're such a great actress. We love you. And I'm like, okay, she's an actress, you know. I'm still not embracing this porn star thing, because it just seemed so out of character with who I knew her to be. And finally, a gentleman came up, and he came out of his face with her, and basically was very disrespectful. And it was at that point that I realized, oh, she's not playing. She really is a porn star. And the way she handled herself, she was such a queen, because although she worked in the porn industry, she's an actress and it's her job. And she was like, oh, I will not be disrespected. And, you know, I mean, her snapback was just so sweet, but it put him straight in his place. And, you know, his response was, I am so sorry, ma'am. I did not mean to disrespect you that way. You know, you're an amazing actress, and I appreciate what you do. And I was like, wow.
Okay. I love it. I love that's such a great story, and that's a great point to put out. You know, one, for people who come in contact with stars, take into consideration they are people too. You know, they really don't owe us anything, right? They really don't owe us anything. I love the fact that you also pointed out, like, hey, you know, take into consideration when they are maybe on, maybe that is the proper time to engage with them. But if they're off to the side, we actually, It was funny. We was out to dinner with Nico and Dr. Pam. Quite a few of us was out to dinner after I think it was the Black Caucus. We then and we had saw Ghost
Right?
from Power there. Oh, his name is Omar, right? His name is I forgot his actual name, but we saw him, and he was like kind of back in the corner again with his family, and I was like, oh my gosh, look! But I kept it moving because he was, it was 2 to 3 other people around him. But the reason why it really kind of caught my eye is because when my husband has a certain type of cut, women be like, wait a minute, he looks like Ghost, right? They say it all the time. They be like, has anybody ever told him? And that was kind of funny, and they even put his picture side by side, and people like, yeah, I can really see the resemblance. And that was the only thing that kind of made me consider to, kind of connect the two, like, y'all kind of look alike, but I gave them that respect and just kept it moving, right? And we should definitely consider. So that is a great point. El June said she confirmed that she said, more management you take on, the more freedom you give up. Dr. B. So that was definitely that she dropped. Now, I want to watching. She said, I don't know how much about the porn industry, but proud of her because she is still holding her crown. That's what Gma said, underscore. So for saying that. Thank you, Mark, for buying some more badges. He is loving this discussion. That's because his queen is on here. He loves you, Dr. Cheryl.
And I love Marky Sparky
Cheryl.
too. I mean, he is amazing. Mark is a nurse and a male nurse and an extraordinary nurse at that. He's very compassionate and just he's been an amazing support over the years. As I said, I was a concierge physician, so I travel a lot. And Mark and my personal assistant, DeWilda Brown, giving a shout out to DeWilda. She's been my personal assistant for a number of years. She is going through some major health issues, and so I'm losing her as an assistant, but I am ever grateful for my queen, for keeping me straight over the years, and ever grateful to Mark for helping me out in the same way. And while I'm on here, I have promised to give a shout out because we all have fans, those who support us no matter what we do. And one of my biggest fans out there is a young man, I see you, son, named Egerton, out in Sierra Leone, Africa. So I promised a shout out to Sierra Leone, and keeping my word. Love you, Egerton. Love you, Sierra Leone.
I love it. Sierra Leone. I love it. I love it. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go. Awesome. Now, I'm about to ask Doctor another question, y'all. If y'all have questions for her, please feel free to drop them in the comments. If something resonates with you all, this is the time, I'm pulling together these resources so that we can have access to credible and credentialed individials, right? This is a perfect time to ask. One of the things that you brought up, Queen, you talked about, the rate of suicide,
yes,
right? That's going on, right? The increased rate of suicide, as well as the level of stress and anxiety and depression that people are experiencing. Could you give us maybe a couple of tips to help us navigate or mitigate the risk of feeling these
well, I
extremes?
think that one of the most important things is to stay connected to other people. We have a tendency when we're struggling to pull inside of ourselves and to not want to let people know what we're going through. And I appreciate the recent onslaught of celebrity meltdowns, you know, from athletes to entertainers, you name it, they've been, you know, melting down in public. Serena Williams, I can't think of her name, Bimes, the gymnast. Of course, there's Kanye that melts down on a fairly regular basis. And you know, all jokes aside, you know, Kanye does have a mental illness. He does deal with a mental illness, and I applaud Kanye because he does not let it keep him down. And his bank account, he's laughing all the way to the bank. Okay, so.
Right.
I think, again, you know, a lot of people, whether they're celebrities or whether they're just working a blue-collar job, feel the need to appear strong, to appear healthy, to hide what they're feeling. And that tends to just eat away at people. And they're not able to use coping skills that they otherwise might be able to use because they're too busy fronting that everything is all right. So one of the things that I always advise people is it doesn't matter who you talk to. It can be a trusted friend or family member, or it can be a counselor who's a stranger. A lot of people do not attend churches, but churches have clergy in them that they do it all the time. They're there to hear people who are in trouble. So especially if you're someone who doesn't attend a church, this is a good place to go because you know there's going to be someone there for you. And it may be that because this person is anonymous to you, you feel more comfortable in unloading and leaving it there. If you are not inclined to attend that church, that's fine. Don't think because you go to a church for assistance that you have to attend. If you do go and you have no intention of attending, just be gracious and leave a little donation behind, or in some way do something nice to help that church. And one of the nice things that you can do is to support that minister who supported you. See that minister, acknowledge that minister, because that minister in their own way is a celebrity. So that minister is also playing the role of looking strong, and that minister also has personal things that they're going through, and on the day that they're supporting you, they may not be at their peak of health. They may be going through a death in their family. They may be going through their own personal struggle. And one of the things for people who may be suicidal, I always say that regardless of what your situation is, someone else that you're running into is also having a situation. And if you can take a moment to stop introspecting, and sometimes that's hard to do, but if you can take a moment to stop introspecting and just look around you, make eye contact with other people around you, muster up a smile for someone else around you, and you will start to see that a lot of the people around you are in pain. And by you just making that small effort to see them, you're going to bring healing to them. You're going to bring a smile to someone else's face, and that is going to make you feel better about where you are, because you are going to know that for some one person, you make a difference. And you may not feel it from everybody that you encounter, but I guarantee you that if you give some external attention to the others around you, you'll run into one that you know that you made a difference for that moment. They might have needed that smile, or they might have just needed you to see them. They might be feeling like nobody in the world sees them. And the fact that you acknowledge them on the street, it could be a bag person, a street person that's down on their luck, and everybody's walking by them and saying they need to go get a job, or, that person's crazy. Even crazy has feelings. Even crazy needs love and acknowledgement. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that if someone's obviously having mental health issues, that you should run up on them trying to think you're going to be their best friend or their savior. That can be a dangerous position to take. But to quickly acknowledge that they're there. And sometimes if they really look like they're really mentally challenged, it is not a good idea to make eye contact, because they may consider it an affrontation. But even as you're passing, just tossing a good morning lets them know that you saw them, and it makes a difference.
I love it. I love it. So if you all are just joining us, thank you so much. Doctor, y'all, if you missed it, y'all got to go back and watch this replay. I'm just saying, she just shared so much great information. The question that was posed to her is, what are some tips? What are some things that, people can do to attempt to mitigate falling into, the anxiety, the depression, the suicidal thoughts? One of the first things that she talked about is avoid being siloed. Don't withdraw. We are meant to really connect with people, right? That's how we were created. And I get it. Sometimes we do need our moments, right? But they say, an idle mind is the devil's workshop, because things start to really play in your mind. And sometimes you can be sucked into this abyss. They say, wherever your awareness goes,
Yes.
that's where energy flows, right? So you're by yourself and you're thinking about how bad things are, you're giving more energy to that, and it continues to grow. That's why it works. When, think about it, if you're having an argument with somebody about one thing, how many other horrible things that this person has done comes up in that conversation? You don't think about the other 1 million great things that this person does. You just think about how horrible they are, because that's what you're giving energy to. So I love the fact that you pointed that as number one. Like, look, do not disconnect. Do not go, don't withdraw. And if you do, let it be strategic, right? Which is kind of to your second point, connect with someone, right? Seek out support. Y'all, I believe, as much as we feel like this world is bad, I do. But can I be honest? And maybe it's me being naive, Queen, but I honestly believe that there is more good than there is bad. I just honestly believe that. I believe that the bad is real bad, and it can be real bad. But I honestly believe that there is more
I
good than it is
totally
bad. So
agree
we
with
should,
you. And I'm a music lover. I love all types of music. And there is a song out there, a country and western song, that I am absolutely in love with. And it's called I Believe Most People Are Good. And I just, I encourage you to go and listen to the lyrics of that song, I Believe Most People Are Good. And I think it says exactly that. We focus on all of the bad that's happening in the world. And, part of that, the media gives that to us. They like sensationalism. People watch sensationalism. People don't tend to tune into what's great and smiley and rainbows and all of that stuff. So the media plays on that sensationalism and makes the world look much worse than it is, makes people look much worse than they are. Most people are just trying to make their way through life from the bottom to the top. It doesn't matter what their position, what they have, what they don't have. Most people's goal is to be happy in life, to be loved in life. So most people are not out there, plotting and planning to derail everybody. They're not out there trying to figure out what they can do to destroy you. We kind of get into this thing where we're like, oh, everybody's looking at us. Everybody's trying to, to mess me up. Everybody's hating on me. Well, you think someone's hating on you. They're looking at you, and they don't even see you because they're looking past you at the person behind you. So.
Right. I have to tell people that in my coaching sessions, when they're talking about, just caring about others people's opinions of them, I say, can I do? And I have to be honest with them. And that's why they tend to connect with me, like, Coach Vaughn, what you say, it may bite, it may sting, but it's the truth. It helps to give me a different perspective. And I say, can I be honest with you? You need to get over yourself, right? Because they're not even worried about you. They're worried about something else, or maybe they're going through something. So don't take on the pressures of thinking people care enough, or they have enough time and energy to worry about what you're wearing, what you look like, what you said. They're dealing with their own things, right? Let me read to you some of the comments. They are on this chat. Y'all, thank y'all so much for being a part of this conversation. I am loving it, and we're about to let the doctor get back to the rest of her day. She's in California. She woke up early to be with us, so we want to definitely respect her time. Mark says, I have learned from doctor to I'm guessing managing anxiety with cognitive behavior therapy, and eating right is so important. Mark, I definitely agree with that. What we put into our bodies play a major part into a lot of what it is that we experience. Even with my studies in neuroscience and really learning how the brain works and how it affects us and the chemicals that are released based on what it is that we eat, it's like putting diesel fuel into a regular car, right? It's putting regular into a luxury car.
Yes,
it's gonna mess
absolutely.
You up.
And
So,
that is one of the areas that I focus strongly on. My practice beliefs are focused strongly on our foundation being what we eat and movement. Those two things, if you attend to those two things alone, that will mitigate 95% of health issues. And I'm talking not just the little acute health issues, but even the chronic things that we go through, the diabetes, the high blood pressure, even the depression and anxiety can be mitigated with the foods that we eat and with movement. Physical movement. People are like, oh, I don't like exercise. Do not think of it as exercise. Think of it as movement. Find some movement that you like. Me, I'm a dancer. I love to dance, and I can, girl, I can dance till the cows come home. Find whatever floats your boat in terms of movement. And I am an advocate for great sex. I will give you a prescription for it, and that's whether you have a partner or you're self-pleasuring. The release from great sex releases the endorphins in your brain and actually helps you to stabilize your mood. And stabilizing your mood helps you to stabilize your physiology. So eating and movement, attitude, your spirituality, that does not necessarily mean church. Unchurched folks can be spiritual too, connect with your spiritual core. All of those things, finding your complete center impacts your health. And we have the ability to heal ourselves. We reach for a pill, we want a quick fix, but health is not in the quick fix. You have,
and it's not Right, Miss
Exactly. And I mean,
May?
just like you'll get up every morning and put your face on, make yourself beautiful, you have to do the same thing for the insides. Put your face on your insides, feed it the good food, have the good movement to get the blood flowing. Make sure that you're doing the things that you know you need to do, drinking plenty of water, getting rest. All of that impacts who you are. It impacts your mood. It impacts the energy that you give off. And the news flash is the energy that you give off is, for the most part, the energy you get back.
Absolutely. I love it, y'all. And please make sure you all are following Dr. Please, y'all. Please, please, please. Oh my goodness. Her YouTube. And again, y'all can go to meetlifecoachvon.com. If you can't write everything down, all of her links are in my calendar. You can click on today's events. You can follow her on Instagram, follow her on YouTube. Her email is there. Y'all, please make sure you stay connected to the doctor. I'm telling you, some phenomenal stuff is being shared. Let me read a couple of other comments, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. You actually have another
Yes,
question
ma'am.
if you have some time. Comments, and then we'll come back to the question. It says, official Gloria Riley says, Dr. Cheryl is wise beyond her years, and we are blessed that she lives her purpose. I am telling you, Queen. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you.
G my, even though I'm going to thank, this is what I've always practiced all my life. This literally has kept me alive. Thank you for sharing this information. Mark says, even crazy feeling. I had so true. I'm going to use this. Oh, okay. All right. They're saying good stuff. They in here just talking you up. Uh-oh. They like that prescription. They like that prescription.
They usually do.
That prescription. I continue to put more videos out. I turn my energy around to positive instead of negative. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, let's get you this one last question. Eldun says, yes, your complete center, body, mind, and spirit. So you are talking some great stuff on here, Doctor. I'm telling you, I already knew you would.
Did you
That's
say that
why
was
I had to
Elgin?
have you on here. No, it says,
Okay.
no, Eldun. Yeah, Eldun.
Okay.
Yep, Eldun said that. So I said, I love you. We love you too. Thank you for hanging out. So this is the last question, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up and allow you to definitely get back your day. Please make sure you all are following Dr. BryantBruce. Please make sure you all are following her. Just some fun, a wealth of information, and we're going to have her back. But it's going to be in a different way. I can't wait to share this with y'all. I can't wait. If she accepts. But the question that was asked, let me go back to it. It was about fear. What is one weapon against fear of progress and advancement one can
Now, that's
consistently use?
actually a good question, because everyone goes under the assumption that we are operating off of fear of failure, and that people don't do the things that they could do to maximize their potential because they fear failure. And it's actually the opposite that is the truth. Most people fear success more than they fear failure. With success comes an incredible amount of responsibility, and a lot of people, and fear of failure is kind of wrapped up in that, because they fear if they become that successful, then they will in some way fail. And I mean, even some of the most successful people feel that. I did an article on Dustin Hoffman, and one of the quotes I used from Dustin Hoffman was that he talked about his movie success, and obviously Dustin Hoffman is a great star, but he talked about the anxiety that each success brought, because he knew that the expectation would be that his next move would be even better. And they
Mm.
have the quote, "You're only as good as your last move." So that
Mm.
there is that fear of success. And I'll give a shout out to my boy Snoop. I love Snoop. And in one of his more recent songs, I guess he released it last year, "Make Mo Money." And one of the lines
Mhm.
he says at the very end is about anxiety. They're busy trying to lay down that paper and make more money, and he says, but the more they get, the more anxiety that they have, because there
Mhm.
is that pressure to always be better, to always be relevant. What can you do about that fear? Again, you all can't see it. The print is small, but I got my T-shirt on today that says "Always Enough." Know that you are always enough. You don't have to compete with anybody. The only person you should be competing with is yourself. And
Your
yes,
yesterday.
you should only be competing with yourself. You should always be reaching to be better. I once was in a beauty pageant, took the title of Miss Sacramento, Miss Black Sacramento, and the final question that they asked you for a quote. And my response was, I believe you can never set your goals too high. So I'm striving for perfection. My father freaked out because he said, "Oh, they're going to think that you're arrogant, and they're going to think that you think that you can be perfect." No, I do not think I can be perfect, which is why I have set that as a goal, because it will always keep me reaching. So, reach to
Mm.
be your best and let the rest take care of itself. You don't have to live in fear if you know that every day you're being the best that you can be. And I'm going to throw something out there as part of my Be the Best You Can Be every day. I have a rule that I have used since my last child was born. Like I said, he was sick and we had a lot of difficulties. I ended up being a single parent with him, and I had three other children who were also struggling with his illness and then struggled with his death. And they were incredibly supportive. I couldn't have done it without my children. And we all had to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. And so I had one rule that I live by to this day, and we called it the 12-24 rule. And if anybody was floundering around, I would throw that 12-24 rule back at them. And the rule was, you can be sick for 24 hours, physically sick for 24 hours. And then if you don't have a fever, you're not bleeding, you're not dying, you have to get up and move on. Yeah, you may feel bad, but you have to get up and move on.
Mm.
Obviously, if you're contagious, which is the fever part, if you're contagious, keep your behind home. We don't want your cooties. But, if you're not contagious, don't lay around in bed. Laying around in bed actually weakens the body, weakens the immune system. Get up, get moving, stay in your life. The 12 part was, you can be depressed for 12 hours. We all have bad days. Sometimes we all need to take some time to have a pity party. Don't let that last for more than 12 hours. Don't get stuck. And you'd say, well, that's easier to say than do. Hey, life is full of hard work and hard choices, and the best choices you can make are those that are going to self-care and self-help, because we're all busy trying to do well for other people, or we're busy trying to impress other people. But at the end of the day, everything that we give depletes us. unless we're giving it from a place of positivity. And even if we're giving it from a place of positivity, we have to refill the well. You cannot give water from an empty well. So you have to self-care. And you're busy trying to look like you're strong. Well, the strength is in taking the time to self-care, and then you have more to give. And I do want to just
I
take
love
the
it.
moment to ask everybody out there. Our show is Chatters That Matters. Let's talk about it. It's fairly new back on the air. We had it on Blog Talk Radio for about 5 years very successfully. And then when I lost my partner and co-host to cancer, we shut it down in 2011. We reopened the show under the model that we had originally planned on when my partner Nigel Pouchet and I worked on it. The anticipation was that it would become a video show and then go to daytime television, and we are on the road to that. We brought the show back several months ago. We're having great success with it. We're having some great guests on. We recently featured Dr. Heavenly. Last week was Faison Love. Sunday will be on at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be bringing to you Dr. Miami. So for all of you who want to talk about those Brazilian butt lifts, or your surgery gone wrong, or the surgery you think you want to have, bring those questions. Come check it out, and we have exciting guests lined up. Our tag is that we're there to educate, inform, and entertain. So we're busy having fun on the show, but we are throwing out good information. So please come join us and just as you're participating here, please do participate. Throw those comments out there, throw those questions out there, because it is a show that we have generated for your listening pleasure and for your education, and to provide you with information that maybe you may not otherwise get elsewhere. So come on out and join us. This Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And those shows, after they've aired live, do go in perpetuity on many, many platforms, including YouTube.
Yeah, and again, everybody, I will be sure to get those links for you on the calendar, meetlifecoachvon.com. That may be easier to remember. Make sure you click on today's date. I'm going to put all of her links up there so you can make sure that you all are following her and everything that she is doing. I know and I can't wait to get it up on my site. H had sent me over all of the links of my interview that we had when I was on Chatters That Matters.
That was such a great show. I so enjoyed having you.
It was such a great time. So y'all make sure you all are plugging into everything that Dr. BryantBruce is doing. I'm telling you, I don't even have to tell y'all how phenomenal she is. So a couple of things that we're going to go ahead and close out. One more thing, Queen, tell them what services do you provide that they can gain
actually,
access to?
I provide a number of services. Again, I am a concierge physician, so that's a private personal physician for anyone who is interested in having a private personal physician. I am located in California, and currently am just licensed in California. I have 4 other licenses, but they're all inactive at the time, and I am reactivating them. Doesn't matter. I see people worldwide, and the only requirement I have is that once a year you do have to make the trek to California so that I can claim you as a California patient, so that I can do a complete physical exam. A lot of what I do is done by telemedicine. I have clients all over the world, and so a lot of it is done by telemedicine. I do travel travel to my clients. I will travel with my clients. Usually it's celebrity clients or business executives that need that type of a service. I have provided service to both kings and presidents. So, you know, I am mobile. It's our hallmark, our trademark is that I am a mobile concierge. I also have courses. One of the courses that we have upcoming, we've been pushing it back because we've had a lot of things developing, and you know, we've been giving time to them, and one of those being the show and getting the show really giving it its legs so it can run. But we do have a course on midlife mastery. Again, for all of those over the age of 40, because people don't talk about the midlife, you know, we hear about midlife crisis, but what does that mean? And it affects all of the blades of your windmill. It affects the base. And we talk about all of the stuff as young people, how to invest our money as young people, what we're physically going to go through as young people, you know, mental challenges, you know, all kinds of different things. We're given so much information, but then you hit those middle years and there's no roadmap and nobody talks about it, and everyone acts
Right.
like everybody knows, and you're like, okay, well, I got to be this old, I guess I'm supposed to know this, and I don't even know what to ask because everything just changed and nobody told me what to expect. Well, we are there to tell you what to expect. And, you know, we talk about everything from hot flashes for both men and women, because both men and women go through the pause. We talk about, you know, financial challenges, social challenges. The game changes when you get older. And for, you know, people who are in relationships, there are those issues. For people who are not in relationships or coming back into the dating scene and all, we talk about all of that. There's just so much that, I mean, so many layers to unpeel of midlife. So this course provides that information. And we do have workshops, but in addition, we do have a year-long mastermind where we take the deep dive into those issues and help put people on the course. And particularly business people tend to have, you know, bigger challenges. Entrepreneurs tend to have bigger challenges because they're dealing with so much in their business life as well as trying to juggle their personal life. So that, you know, that course is for them. And one of my favorite passions is public speaking. I'm a professional speaker, so I am available. I do keynotes, I do workshops, I do summits, you know, I do podcasts and talk shows. So whatever your need is for a public speaker, chances are I'm available. And people say, well, what do you speak on? You know, do you just speak on health? No, I do speak on health, obviously. But I'm also a motivational, inspirational speaker, and I do speak on a lot of other topics like diversity. So, you know, shoot it at me. It might not be in my wheelhouse, but if it's not in my wheelhouse, then I guarantee you I know another terrific speaker like Coach Vaughn, who it may be in her wheelhouse or the wheelhouse of some of the other queens and kings that I know who are on the speaking circuit. So, you know, tap on me. I might be exactly what you need, and if I'm not, I'll be exactly what you need because I'll know somebody who is.
I love it. I love it. Queen, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. I pray. I have my morning regimen. First thing I wake up, I give gratitude. Then I pray. I say my affirmations. I go into meditation. And for the month of March, it has been my intentional prayer to pray for each one of my guests that decides to just pour out. And you all are phenomenal. And I just pray that God continues to bless you all to continue to work in purpose and your passion. It shows. And because I am a purpose and passion coach, it fills my heart even more because it pushes across the message. When you are aligned with your purpose and passion, you become, I mean, literally, you are unstoppable. You are unstoppable. So thank you for being unstoppable. Thank you for walking and living out. And Mark is everybody that's joined that knows you, they are singing your praises. And I'm glad that they are here to do so, so that people will know that Life Coach Vaughn ain't just a siphon, you know, it absolutely shows. Thank you for all that you do. Y'all join me again tomorrow, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to have another guest. And for the rest of the month of March, go to meetlifecoachvaughn.com. Doctor, I am going to get, Brian Bruce, I'm going to get those other links so that they can
Yes.
connect with you, okay? Y'all, remember, you may see a caterpillar, but I see a butterfly. You are bold, you are unique, and you are fly. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank
Thank you so
you
much,
so much for
Doctor.
everything
I
that you
love you
do,
too.
Coach Vaughn.
Thank you. My pleasure. Y'all have a better than amazing